Remembrance Day, also known as Armistice Day or Veterans Day, is a day to honor and remember the brave men and women who have served in the military and sacrificed their lives for their country. In this video, we'll be exploring the history and significance of Remembrance Day, as well as how it is observed around the world. Remembrance Day has its roots in World War I, which lasted from 1914 to 1918. The First World War was one of the deadliest wars in history. Millions of soldiers and civilians lost their lives and many were injured. The war changed the world forever and had a profound impact on the people who lived through it. On November 11, 1918, at the 11th hour, an armistice was signed between the Allied powers and Germany, effectively ending the war. As a result of this, November 11th was chosen as the day to remember and honor those who lost their lives in the war. In the years following World War I, November 11th became known as Armistice Day in many countries. It was officially recognized as a holiday in the United Kingdom in 1919 and the United States in 1938. The initial Armistice Day was observed at Buckingham Palace, commencing with King George V, hosting a banquet in honor of the President of the French Republic during the evening hours of November 10, 1919. The first official Armistice Day was subsequently held on the grounds of Buckingham Palace the following morning. During the Second World War, many countries changed the name of the holiday. Member states of the Commonwealth of Nations adopted Remembrance Day, while the United States chose Veterans Day. In the years following World War II, the holiday was expanded to include those who had lost their lives in that conflict. Today, Remembrance Day is observed in many countries around the world, including Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and many countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean. Remembrance Day is a time to honor and remember the sacrifices made by military personnel in defense of their country. It is a day to pay tribute to the brave men and women who have served in the military, and to those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. It is also a time to recognize the impact that war has on individuals, families, and communities, as well as to reaffirm our commitment to peace and reconciliation. The period leading up to Remembrance Day has been marked by the phrase, "Lest we forget." The phrase was adopted to capture the significance of remembering the soldiers fallen in war. In 1897, Rudyard Kipling composed a poem entitled Recessional, where he reminds readers not to forget what is not to be obliterated. In the poem, he underscores the phrase, "Lest we forget," which has been adopted to remember fallen soldiers. Despite the importance of honoring soldiers fallen in the world wars, it is equally important to remember that Remembrance Day isn't just about the soldiers who fought and died in the world wars. It's also about the veterans who have served their countries in other conflicts and peacekeeping missions. These men and women have made sacrifices to defend their countries and protect the freedom that we enjoy today. As time goes on, younger generations must learn about Remembrance Day and the sacrifices that were made by their ancestors. Remembrance Day is observed in many different ways around the world. In the United Kingdom, Canada, and other Commonwealth countries, Remembrance Day is marked by the wearing of red poppies, which are symbols of remembrance. Poppies are traditionally worn in the weeks leading up to Remembrance Day, and many people also choose to wear them on the day itself. The poppy has become a symbol of remembrance because it was the only flower that grew on the battlefields of the First World War. During the war, Canadian Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae wrote a poem called "In Flanders Fields," in which he described the poppies growing on the graves of soldiers. The poppy has since become a symbol of the sacrifice made by those who fought and died in wars. In many countries, Remembrance Day is marked by the sounding of a moment of silence at the 11th hour on November 11th. The last post and reveille are used to draw the symbolic association between the soldier's last duty of sitting sentry and the rising above his mortal duties. The last note of the last post marks the beginning of the 2 minutes of silence. This moment of silence is a way to remember and honor those who have lost their lives in military service. Schools in different countries often hold Remembrance Day assemblies, and many students participate in the wearing of poppies and the laying of wreaths. It's important to teach our children about the importance of remembering the sacrifices that were made, so that they can continue to pass on the message to future generations. That's all for now about Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day is a time to honor and remember the brave men and women who have served in the military and sacrificed their lives for their country. It is a day to pay tribute to their sacrifices and to reaffirm our commitment to peace and reconciliation. May we always remember the sacrifices made by those who have served, and work towards a world where conflicts can be resolved peacefully.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.